Why is it that the loudest person in the room is rarely the one in control? Why do the people who speak the least often seem to decide everything? They don't dominate conversations. They don't announce their intentions. They don't fight for attention. And yet, when they finally speak, the room listens. This isn't coincidence. It isn't shyness. And it definitely isn't weakness. It's psychology. And once you understand it, you'll never see quiet people the same way again. We're taught something from a young age. That power is loud. That confidence is verbal. That leadership looks like dominance. The one who talks the most. The one who interrupts. The one who fills every silence. But psychology tells a different story. Studies on group dynamics show something unsettling. People who speak less are often perceived as more intelligent, more authoritative, and more credible when they finally choose to speak. Why? Because silence creates anticipation, and anticipation creates power. When someone talks nonstop, their words become background noise. But when someone is quiet, their words become an event. Silence makes people uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. The human brain is wired to fear the unknown, and silence is the ultimate unknown. When someone doesn't immediately respond, we start filling in the gaps. What are they thinking? Do they know something I don't? Am I being judged? This is called projection. Quiet people don't need to assert dominance. Others do it for them. They project intelligence. They project confidence. They project authority. Not because it's true, but because the mind hates empty space. Quiet people are watching, always. While others are talking, they're collecting data. Who's insecure? Who wants validation? Who contradicts themselves? Who lies? They're not distracted by the need to be heard. They're not burning energy performing. They're learning, and information is the real currency of power. By the time decisions are made, quiet people already understand the room better than anyone else. That's why when they finally speak, it's often precise, measured, and impossible to ignore. Here's something fascinating. Neuroscience shows that the brain reacts more strongly to unexpected stimuli. A loud person being loud, expected. A quiet person speaking, disruptive. The shift triggers attention centers in the brain. That's why meetings stop. That's why conversations freeze. That's why people lean in. Quiet speech feels important because it's rare, and rarity creates value. This is the same reason luxury brands don't advertise loudly, and why the most powerful people don't explain themselves. Let's clear something up. Quiet does not mean introverted, and introverted does not mean weak. Some of the most dominant individuals in history were soft-spoken. They didn't waste energy convincing people of their power. They let outcomes do the talking. Quiet people often choose when to speak, instead of needing to speak constantly. That choice alone changes the power dynamic. Here's the part most people miss. Quiet people aren't passive. They're restrained. And restraint is a form of control. When you don't reveal your thoughts immediately, you control the flow of information. When you don't react emotionally, you force others to expose themselves. When you don't chase attention, attention chases you. This is why negotiators, interrogators, and leaders use silence intentionally. It makes others talk, and talking reveals leverage. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The need to dominate conversations often comes from fear. Fear of being ignored, fear of being insignificant, fear of silence. Loudness can be a mask, a way to avoid being unseen. Quiet people don't need that mask. They're comfortable not being immediately validated because they're playing a longer game. Think back to your own life. The boss who barely spoke, but whose words ended arguments. The teacher who didn't raise their voice, but commanded respect. The person in the room who said almost nothing, yet somehow felt important. That wasn't an accident. Power doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself, slowly. And the quiet ones understand this better than anyone. So the next time silence fills the room, don't rush to break it. Ask yourself, who's actually in control right now? Because the most powerful voice is often the one you almost didn't hear. And once you learn to use silence, you'll realize something dangerous. You don't need to be loud to be unstoppable.